Hello and welcome to our busy webinar for September 30th, 2015. We're going to talk about Instagram for business today. So you're going to learn how to snap pictures, share photos, add images and videos, and use them for your business to help you grow your brand. I am Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb, and we're going to talk about a few things. We're first going to go through a little bit about us, and then of course we're going to dive right into Instagram, talk about basics. We'll talk about some stuff that you need to know for business in particular, and then we'll give a brief demo of what we can, because it's kind of hard to share over a Hangout on a mostly mobile app. So we're going to show you the web version of Instagram and what you can do with it. It's a little bit limited, but you'll be able to get it from the screenshots during our event today. As we do each week, we're going to go through a little bit about who we are and what we do. But first, I wanted to give you a chance to ask questions. And so let me skip over to this section. We're going to go into our event today, and I see that we have a bunch of folks on already, so thank you all very much for joining us. If you do have questions, here is how to get into those questions. First, what you're going to do is go into the link on the page that you received an email from if you registered. And so if you are registered, if you want to go to number 1 above here on the page that you received a link to, if however you've happened across this in the public Google Hangouts area for Hangouts on Air, then go to BizzyWeb.com/events and then click on today's event, and then you'll be able to get into this page. If you, however, are already logged in and probably watching the video from this page, you can just click on the Google Plus link under number 1 on the page above. I've highlighted it here. If you click on that, that's going to open up a new window, and inside of that new window, you will see that there's a link that says Q&A and live, and you can see the event right here. If you just click that play button, it's going to open another screen, and inside of that new screen is going to be where you'll be able to ask your questions. Let me just press pause right here so that we don't have any issues with echo. Great, so I've paused that, and now you'll be able to ask your questions in this window over on the side. You'll notice in the lower right hand corner there's a big green button, and if you click that big green button, as long as you're logged into Google, you'll be able to ask a question here. So if you have questions about Instagram, that's how you're going to get it done today, and we'd love to have you ask those questions, because this is meant as much for us as it is for you, and the more questions we can ask really about anything related to online marketing, but in particular for the first part at least about Instagram, we would appreciate it. We'll help you with everything that we know and would love to share with you on that. So give us a holler if you have those questions. Again, from the webinar, you're just going to click under number 1 on the Google Plus link. You'll click on that link. It'll take you into this page as long as you're logged into Google. If you're not on Google, we can help you with that as well. But make sure that you just use a Gmail account of some sort. You can log in, click the green Ask a New Question button to ask questions. One note, if you are having or experiencing technical difficulties with the video feed, unless we mention something in the Hangout, it's more likely that it's just a connection error or an encoding issue. So you may want to rewind just a little bit by going down to the bottom of the screen and scrolling backwards a little bit and clicking, or simply click the refresh button on your browser to reload that window, and that usually takes care of any technical issues. If the sound is pausing or if there's other issues, that's usually what happens. So thank you all very much for joining us, and let's get into our agenda for the day. Again, we're going to talk just a little bit about us, and then we'll get into basics and details on Instagram for business. BizzyWeb, of course, has been around since '99. Our 16 years here. We're based out of Champlin, Minnesota. Have seen a team of 15 grow and share, and we help clients all over the world. We mostly do online marketing for our clients, but we do have a full web design team and an online marketing team that helps with content, delivery, social media setups, email marketing, pay-per-click advertising, web hosting, what have you. Basically, if you need anything done in marketing that's online, BizzyWeb can help you, and we'd love to talk to you today. You can reach us at BizzyWeb.com or at the phone number at the bottom of your screen, 612-4BizzyO, 424-9990. let's get into the details here. If you need social media content, you can also get a hold of us, of course, but let's get into some Instagram basics. Now, if you've used Instagram before, and if you're kind of confused as to how you might use it for business, well, you're not alone. There's not a lot of businesses that are really doing Instagram very well. And that's primarily because it's mostly a photo and video sharing, really a personality-based tool. It's owned by Facebook, of course, but when you share those videos and photos among the 400 million active monthly users, you're mostly sharing highly curated content. It's most huge among the 18 to 29-year-old segment, really the digital natives, or what some may call millenniums. And so inside of that group, what I've heard said is that with Instagram, they might in their day share a few tweets, make a couple of Facebook posts, snap a few dozen pictures, perhaps send text messages or SMSs over either Snapchat or WhatsApp or their regular SMS service. And the 2 or 3 photos that really turned out immensely well, or that really sum up their day, are the ones that they'll load into Instagram and then put a filter on, curate, add a hashtag, add a little bit of information in the text, and then publish. So this is really highly curated content. And if you're looking for great content, or if you're looking to share great imagery, just like Pinterest was last week, you really have to be spot on with your images and your videos if you want to be successful on Instagram. So with Instagram, again, it's a huge network. It's probably the largest as far as activity, photo sharing application, not counting Facebook, on the web. But again, Facebook owns Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, there's a good shot that you're doing it for image and video sharing. So as we look at this, when you create your content and your account, all you need to do when you're setting up, and we're going to go through the basics of setting up an account first, but then we're going to bridge into how to do it for your business. And so as you're setting up your account, all you need to do is set up your account over your either iOS or Android or Windows phone account, and you need to install that application. Now, Instagram is very different from any of the other networks that we've mentioned before in that there's a web version, but it's very much a second or third or fourth class citizen as far as the interactions. You can do almost nothing with your web version of Instagram, and instead you have to do everything on the app. So a lot of the things that we're going to show today are simply screenshots of what you can do using Instagram. But what you do when you set it up is you simply install that application, going to the Google Play Store or or your iTunes account. And then you'll install, authenticate it. As soon as you open it up, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. You can either sign up or log in. Since it's owned by Facebook, you can log in with Facebook, and you can connect with your email address if you want, or your Twitter account, and connect those things together. You can also add and connect with tools like Flickr or Yahoo Mail or some other simple extensions as well. But really, it's all about the application when you're inside of Instagram. Once you get in there, you're going to add your information and your profile pic. You have 160 characters for your About You text, and you can include a URL in that for your website as well. And you'll want to have that drive directly to your company website as a business, or if you're a person, you might not even want a URL associated with it, but maybe that would go to your LinkedIn profile or your Facebook profile or something if you wanted to connect it up. Now, when you do get into Instagram, you're going to get the option to merge or to sync your accounts with some of those other social networks. When you do that, that is actually going to proactively tell all of your friends that are also on Facebook and also on Instagram, if you connect up with Facebook, for example, that you are now on Instagram. So you probably have received these on Facebook before if you're a member of both networks, that one of your friends has just joined Instagram and then the user ID for that person. If you do that, that's a great way to extend and expand your base. It's not quite as easy to do that if you have a business page on Facebook, because there's not a great way to directly tie into that business page. But if you have an account that you've set up just to handle and manage things for your business that you use to answer and connect with on Facebook, that might be a way to keep everything separate. Now, basically what you're going to want to do is get out and to start sharing and to get content out there. As a matter of fact, when you're using Instagram, there's a few buttons across the bottom that I want to share with you. And so if you've logged into Instagram before, no problem. But here's the buttons that are on the bottom. There's news feed on the left. And that's just like Facebook. That's all of the pictures or videos that your friends are sharing. The little search button bar is explore, and you can find friends and topics, follow hashtags, connect up with the explore button. The button in the middle that's blue is to take photos or videos, and you'll go through a bunch of settings after you get into that. Over next to photos is the notifications button, and that's to see your likes, the comments, the activity on your stream. And then finally on the far right is your profile, your bio, your followers, your photos, the things that you're doing, what you're up to on Instagram. And that's a great way to just continue to connect. You'll also notice that there's one more button, and that's the settings button in the upper right. If you click on that settings button in the upper right, you can edit your profile, change some things up. But really, that's all there is to Instagram. And that's a challenge for businesses, because if you curate your content, if you have photos or screens or pictures that you want to share that might be infographics or other things that you found on the web, you have to first get them into your mobile device in order to load those up. So what you might do on occasion, and what I've done is I've curated things for BizzyWeb's account, is I've simply browsed to the web page or the account or an image on Chrome or on my browser on my phone, and then simply done a screenshot. That screenshot would then load it into your photo reel, and then from your photo reel you can import it into Instagram, apply filters and connections, and hashtag things, add things up, and then publish. So it's a little bit different in the fact that you have to use that mobile device in your hand. And if you have, there's only really a phone version of this of Instagram. So if you're used to working in a large scale or a wide format, you're going to have to get used to letting your fingers do the talking a little bit more and using the phone version of the Instagram app, because that's really where all the power is. So if you're thinking about your business versus your personal account, you may have two. You may decide just to have one for simplicity's sake. But really, the difference between a personal page and a business page on Instagram, as in Twitter, is really nothing. You don't get anything more if you're a business. You don't get any details or analyses that you can use. There's no analytics. There's nothing that you can do other than the likes and the followers and the views on your Instagram posts. But in general, if you're going to have two, your personal account should be about you. I have Busy Dave. That's family stuff for me. It's things that I want to share with the people that I'm connected with on Instagram personally, and it's just a completely separate experience. For your business, however, you want to focus on who you are for your audience. You don't want to get too caught up in pictures or photos or videos that are not relevant to your audience or to the folks that you're trying to reach. Again, you're trying to connect with people and build your marketing profile. And so what you want to do is post content, helpful information, details, maybe something that you've put together on an app on your phone that you can then repurpose and connect, maybe via hyperlapse or layouts for Instagram, for example. And then you can reshare and repost that content. If you have things that are on your website, you can simply, again, browse to your website on your phone, take a screenshot, or hold down that image and save it to your photo reel on your phone, and then you can repost that up. I actually did a couple of fun things and used some interesting filters and some interesting photo edits inside of some of the images that I've posted recently. We had a event with the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal yesterday, and Trigvi on our team was presenting, and I shot a great picture of the event, and we actually used the tilt shift lens in order to give it a little bit more perspective and a little bit more depth. Same thing with the snapshot of BizzyWeb being featured in the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal, where we focused on our content, but let everything else kind of fuzz out so that we weren't overstating, or that we were just focusing on the content that was most important to us. So it's definitely a bigger challenge to be authentic, real, and engaging on Instagram than probably any other tool. With Pinterest, you can do a lot of photos and repin and curate things, and there's a great web interface. With Facebook, of course, and Twitter and all of those places, that's easy to integrate and connect wherever you might be, although Twitter really is mostly mobile as well. With Instagram, it's 100% mobile. It's really 99% mobile, I suppose, since you can now get at your profile and edit a few settings and things over Instagram's web version. But really, it's 99% what you get on your phone. These are screenshots of what you get on your web device, on your computer, for BizzyWebCom and for BizzyDave. And you can see that you can review content, you can like things, but you can't really go much further than that. So as you look at this and as you try to edit, I mean, you can't even change up your profile image over the web interface. Instead, you have to upload things on your phone, which can be problematic because, especially for your business, you want to load up a logo. And that doesn't always crop well unless you have higher powered tools at your disposal. So that's part of our issues here. So I see a whole bunch of viewers on here. Again, if you have specific questions about either Instagram or anything in online marketing, go ahead and log those via the Q&A tool in Hangouts. If you're viewing the Hangout today from this page and you're viewing inside of here, you may want to just scroll up and under number 1, click on this Google Plus link as I've highlighted. And then if you click on that link, you'll be able to ask questions because it's going to pop up a new window and the Q&A tool will pop up. Again, you do need to have a Google Plus account. A Gmail account will work just fine. Or if you have Google Apps with your business, you should be able to log in with that as well. But click that big green button to ask us questions, and we'll keep going through our content today. Not limiting it just to Instagram. If you have any questions in online marketing, we'd love to help you with that as well. All right, so you've set up your account. You've connected it up. You've added a few accounts on it. You've connected up your Facebook. You've connected up perhaps your Flickr account, or tried out a few apps or some things. Now you really want to focus on content. With content, again, you really need to, especially on Instagram, focus on the mobile version and the mobile experience. Only very, very recently did Instagram start allowing non-square photos to be loaded up. So if you've got photos that you want to share, you have to think about how they're going to be shared and how they're going to be viewed. The default view window is still square when you're in Instagram, so you kind of have to think about that. Apple's iOS tools in the camera will automatically let you shoot square photos to help you with that. But when you load up Instagram images via your app, or when you're shooting pictures, it'll automatically format it correctly depending on what you want to do. You have some great tools at your disposal. You have your phone, you have your content, you have your website. You can browse. For example, on iOS, in order to save a photo, you can either do a screenshot of that photo or of that page that you're trying to connect with. So you would browse or open up an app or whatever, and you simply hold down the home button, the circle on the front, and the on-off button, either on the side or on the top, depending on the version of phone you have, if it's a 6 or a 5 or whatever. And if you hold both of those down together, it'll take a screenshot of whatever's on your screen. You can also do that with your Apple Watch, or with your Android Wear, or with your Android phone, of course, by doing a screenshot inside of that. And then if you save those, or if you're browsing anywhere on the web, a long press will usually let you save. And some tools, like Android actually has a little tool where you can connect up and save images directly into your photo reel and then use your photo reel in Instagram to add your content. But put that kind of stuff together and be certain that you're focusing on the right types of content. So you have tools at your disposal, use them, play with them. There's image editing apps that you can use to add text and things to photos. I'll talk in a minute about the layout tool that Instagram came out with a couple months ago. But the types of content that you want to focus on, it's usually mostly photography on Instagram. So if you have photos of your product in interesting situations, images of solutions or services that you want to focus on, you have to think of visual representations of that content. If you're an accountant or lawyer, that's a lot more difficult. But if you have a physical product or something that you can share in the real world, that's not impossible to share. We like sharing examples of our websites. We share examples of infographics. We do things like I shot a lot of photos of the BizzyWeb offices because it's very bright and colorful and interesting. But if you have quotes, if you have graphics, if you have things that you want to caption and put text on top of, that can be really handy. The key, always caption your photo as well as just loading it up. And there you get a little bit of chance to put some text underneath that. One of the big things that's used frequently on Instagram is hashtags. And so if you have keywords that you'd like to be featured for, that you want to capture, you want to look through, there's trending topics and things that are popular on Instagram. You can see that right from your app. You may want to add to that conversation or message or include other Instagram users, perhaps very prominent or successful Instagrammers, and send them an @ and maybe they'll like or share your content. If you get a little heart from someone else on Instagram, that gets shared among the people that they're connected with. So that's a great way to include and grow. You can include calls to action in your image and also in your caption, but it's only clickable. For the only clickable link that you really get is the About You link, where you get to link to your website. So, you don't have quite as much, and it's not quite as easy to drive traffic directly to it. So you have to make sure that the search terms that you use, the links that you might direct to, and the hashtags you can click on, and the user IDs, but the links that you provide have to be very straightforward, have to be very thought through, and you have to make sure that you're making it as easy as possible for people to engage with your brand. In other news and details, really, with Layout, which is a new tool on Instagram, it's actually a separate app that you can download, and it allows you to edit and make collages. So you can do 2, 3, 4, 5 images and set them up in 5 or 6 different ways, add those same filters that you normally would to your imagery, and then share that via Instagram. Hyperlapse allows you to take videos, and of course, I haven't even talked about videos or the filters that you can use on Instagram because they're fairly self-explanatory. But with Instagram Hyperlapse, it's again a completely separate application that's owned and run by Instagram, and it allows you to essentially, for example, I shot one today of walking around BizzyWeb's offices, and it took that 35-second tour of BizzyWeb's offices, and it shrank it down to 7.5 seconds. You get about 15 seconds of video with Instagram video, and it loops. You want to use that time and that information wisely, and you can't do complex topics. You have to be, thoughtful on what you share inside of that. Hyperlapse makes it easier. It actually smooths out your just share images with distinct groups. It's kind of Instagram and Facebook's answer to Snapchat. And again, I mentioned this, but very recently, landscape and portrait formats, the either taller or wider images that we're used to from photography are now available inside of Instagram. So as you use this, it's simple, it's easy, it's very graphical, but really the key is you have to think of your visuals more than anything else, and you also have to design and integrate your content for mobile devices. If you have very small text or wide content that you're trying to get shared, it's just not going to work as well, because you have to work for, at best a 4.5 inch screen. At worst, if you have something that's very small and fuzzy and you have someone that's on an older version of a phone that's, maybe even a feature phone, you're not going to be able to see that content or use it appropriately, and so it's not going to gain traction. Let's switch over to demo now, and I'm going to open up a window. Let's see if we do have any questions. Looks like we don't have any big questions here, so I'm just going to open up the BizzyWeb.com page again on Instagram's website. So again, when you create your user ID, you should try to keep it to your brand. Some random person from Atlanta, I believe, has the BizzyWeb brand. Hasn't shared anything with it, hasn't done anything with it, but so we're stuck with BizzyWeb.com for our BizzyWeb account. But I loaded up my image, and then it says BizzyWeb is an online marketing agency focusing on web design, email marketing, social media, content marketing, online advertising, and SEO. Got all the keywords in there. And then I linked to BizzyWeb.com. Now, if you have a specific page that you want people to be able to share and engage with you on, you may want to go directly to a landing page. I haven't done that because most of our accounts or most of our business comes from the website, and then we let people into any of those things. But if I wanted people just to be able to share and connect with me, I might go to BizzyWeb.com/social to get them right to that correct page. Inside of your profile, you can't really see a whole lot. You can see your images and your content. You can change your password on here. You can manage applications inside of Instagram. You can see badges that you might have, and then you can install those badges on your website. But once you do that, you grab this and it automatically grabs some code that you can put on your website. You can talk to your webmaster, or if you're a BizzyWeb client, we can install that for you as well. But it's very, very simple to do that. And then you can set up your email preferences. And that's really about all you can do on the web version of Instagram. So you can view things and add comments or suggestions. You can embed code, so you can embed a video on your website or inside of a post. So if you grab that, you can include the caption. You can just copy that embed code and publish it in. And this is an example of a hyperlapse video. This is a tour from the BizzyWeb homepage over to the front. So, this is what an Instagram hyperlapse video does. Just loops and it runs. Again, this took about 30 seconds and it got down to about 6.5 seconds by running this. It's kind of headache inducing, but you can see the details and the things that you publish on your content. And you can see, people comment, they connect, they like, they publish things, and you can repost and share content and come on up. So, there's things that you can do on Instagram. And, again, it's as far as a social media account and view for your business, this is one of the trickier ones because it almost entirely lives on your mobile device. So if you don't have your mobile device set up, or if you're not comfortable in managing things, posting and sharing images between, again, I mentioned how to grab some images off of other applications or share things and save them into your photo library on your phone so that you can share. Again, you can do a snapshot with, on iOS or on iPhones. You can hold down the home button and the on-off button simultaneously to take a screenshot of anything that goes into your photo roll, and then you can use it for Instagram. You can take photos, you can add filters, you can connect up. It's very simple to make those changes and to add that content, but you don't have quite as much control as we're used to in social media via Facebook or LinkedIn, Google+, Twitter, or any of the others. So it's a lot more mobile first and really mobile only. And it's also one of those things where it's kind of stream of consciousness, but you want to make sure that you're curating your content, that you apply a great filter to it, and that you try different filters. You know, if as you're going through the filters on Instagram, if you hold down your finger on the screen as you're scrolling through those filters, so say, for example, you pick one of my favorites, lo-fi, and you want to remember what the image looked like originally, you can simply tap the image and it'll flip back to what the normal version looks like. And then you can kind of see what the differences are. But scroll through those, and you can also edit photos, and you can apply filters like the tilt shift filter, which does selective focus and blurs out everything but a little radius. You can do different crops and align videos if you have vignetting, or if you had some issues with things getting bent when they were on your screen. Say perhaps you shot with a fisheye lens, or you shot very close photography. Instagram will automatically adjust that tilt. Or you can do a number of things on your Instagram account inside of those filters. You know, it's very simple, it's easy. Another thing that you can do is actually auto post from your website to Instagram, and actually no, that's Pinterest, but you can publish to Instagram as well by simply logging in and adding that on, and BizzyWeb can help you with that if you need help with that. But again, you know, difference between personal, more kind of general all-purpose stuff versus business. At least for us, we just publish information about us, what we do, our content. You know, this is an example of a photo that has that tilt shift on it, as does this one with Trigvi speaking at the New Business, or the Minneapolis St. Paul Journal, our Business Journal event. You can see this is crisp and clear, and everything else is kind of blurry. And so you can focus and be more artistic with those, and you can actually share content that looks a lot better. And this is how you make small changes and make your content look artsy, appealing, and kind of engage. If you're trying to reach millennials or folks that are upwardly mobile and involved and interested in mobile devices and sharing, this is one of the biggest places for social sharing. And again, it's also the highest curated content. So if you're working, and a lot of folks that I have as friends that are heavy Instagram users will post a number of things over the day, or take a bunch of pictures, take a bunch of texts and snapshots and things. But then the one or two things that really struck them during the day, or that they really wanted to focus on, the highlights of their day or their experience, will be shared on Instagram. And so this is not a place just to kind of halfway post things, or just to kind of go about it and to be sloppy. You want to make sure that your imagery is sharp and clear, that you're presenting yourself in the best possible light, and that you're sharing something that would be shareable or heartable, you know, that people might click like on when you're going out for business. So as we move forward then, again, if you have any questions, would love to hear them. And we can also open up to additional questions. If you have things that aren't related to Instagram, this is your time to ask those questions, as I am just going to move into wrap up. There's not much on Instagram, and if you get it, you get it, and you really need to play in order to get it. So that's what we have for Instagram today. Reminder, if you need help with either web design, web hosting, or online marketing, BizzyWeb can absolutely help you with that. And we've got a lot of really fun stuff coming up as far as our BizzyWebinars. So join us every Wednesday. Be sure to register in advance to get a chance to either ask us questions, or to get a link directly into that webinar right before it happens. Because when you do, we'll get you that link, and then it's much easier to ask those questions. Again, our events coming up, if you just go into BizzyWeb.com/events, and I'll open up that now, you'll see all of the events that we have coming up, and you can browse through all of the past ones. So if you missed Pinterest for Business last week, or LinkedIn company and showcase pages, or how to use Facebook's ad tool to analyze the demographics of your audience, would love for you to check those out. Next month, we have some really fun stuff coming up, like dumb social media mistakes on the 7th, why your business should use local pages, fortune in the follow-up, so how to do follow-up on your marketing, and then measurement in your social media marketing. So we have some really cool stuff coming up. Would love to see you in person at the Landing More Sales Workshop down in Bloomington with New Business, Minnesota. And then we have a few things with local chambers of commerce and with SCORE. So if you have any of those, or if you're nearby, we'd love to see you in person at those or online at BizzyWeb.com/events. Again, one new thing that we are just starting out is in our blog, we're actually going through and reviewing the things that we've done that have been most popular. So for example, earlier this week, we published 4 videos to get you started in email marketing. This is an overview of 4 different busy webinars that we've done that either help you with email campaigns that drive success, how to grow your email list, can spam act basics, or growing your business with email and social media. So we're curating those a lot more to give you more detail and more connections. So browse through our blog as well to get all the details you're looking for. One final thing as we close out, if you haven't suggested or if you haven't tried a BizzyWeb Buzz report, go to BizzyWeb.com/buzz. You're going to see a page that looks like this. You'll fill out your website, a keyword that you'd like to be found for. If you're feeling saucy, a competitor's URL, and then in your name and your email. We will then look at your website, give you a grade on how you're doing in marketing, but then you'll also get a 10-page report on what you could be improving and a checklist on what you should consider. You can take that to your current provider. Hopefully that's BizzyWeb, and we'd love to help you grow your business. Again, I'm Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. If you do have those questions, be sure to send them in, and you can also drop those over to 612-424-9990, or you can send an email directly to me at dave@bizzyweb.com. Remember, at BizzyWeb, we help you generate buzz without getting stung, and thank you all so very much for hanging out with us today, and we'll talk to you next time at BizzyWeb. Thank you.